and at the same time HR information and also recruitment selection. Now this is our my fourth session, which is working on employee relations. Any questions, anyone? Are you all clear about what we discuss? All right, okay. If there are no questions, let's go ahead with this today's discussion. Now you can see there are two areas we are going to look at. One is called employee relations. Other one is called industrial relation. Then now when you just look at randomly, now you can see these are going to be almost a similar thing because both are relations. But then again, what I wanted to look at is what is the technical differences when you consider over here technical differences. Then in that case, actually, if you carefully look at employee relations, what is employee relations? Then I prefer to highlight, normally we call ER. ER is a relationship between, employer and employee, right? Now that's very, what you call very much unofficial, right? It's a relatively very, very unofficial type of relationship that we consider, right? Well, there are no hard and fast rules. I mean, there are no worldwide recognition applications. I mean, there may be different types of ways and means of maintaining relationships. All right. Then that is the key concern over here that you all need to look at because, so many other things. Now we have best practices, but here there is no such. Now, how do you maintain relationship? I mean, that depends on your culture, right? Well, again.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Then what we were discussing is about the relationship matter, employee relations. I mean, there are no official format. Now, therefore, it can be, as you preferred. And also, maintaining relationship can be considered in terms of the context, right? Why I'm saying, because if you look at some countries, for example, maybe Sri Lanka, India, our relationship, when you compare with Western, it is different. That is where we can consider about this scenario. Based on that, we can just go ahead. All right, then keep that in mind. Then industrial relation, on the other hand, it is different. Why? It is about the formal relationship. Because in organization, employee both will be maintaining relationship in a very formal manner. Then what do you mean by this formal relationship? Now, what I'm trying to say, it is about legislative relationship. It is not just ad hoc relationship we consider. It is legislative, very much formal platform that you will be using in order to maintain relationship. Therefore, it is not going to be one-to-one type of relationship. Then employee try to get together and establish a union. then that union try to maintain relationship with employer, right? Now that is something very formal platform. And for that, actually, you have Trade Union Act, then all the guidelines available in there. And it will be monitored by another party, that is Labor Department on behalf of the government. Now you can see the scenario, because if you consider about employee relations, it's relation between employer and employee. That's it. How do you do that? I mean, nobody worried, right? But if you consider about industrial relation, on the other hand, it is different. There are three parties, whereas employee relation, there are two parties. It is informal, but industrial relation, it is very formal. And also, like, there are guidelines available for you to go ahead with. Now you can see the platform. Now this is what basically we consider. And looking at that aspect, like, we'll be moving forward. Right, these are the areas that we are going to consider here, right? Then now this is a section, actually, today, if you look at, this will be relatively very important in a country like Sri Lanka. Why? Now you can see here, mainly which is to be considered with, how do you maintain these relationships? There is a very much art component here, right? Then in a classroom, I mean, you can't simply learn this. It won't be possible. Why? Well, how do you maintain a relationship with another party? It is completely depending on, you can see, individuals, right? How they go ahead and all. Now that is why, I mean, we have to be very, very specific on this when you consider about, right? Then randomly, I don't think we can just go through it. It's simply, I would say, impossible in nature. Okay. Then therefore, like, I mean, it's good to know, but then it depends on, like, I mean, your capability, your personality, your temperament, and the culture. Now, all these things. Now, those are the most important things to consider when you are just running through, right? Because that is why I say it's a, like, what do you say? It's an art, right? All right. Then considering about that, now you can see here what we consider as this industrial or labor relations. Now, then you can see it is interdisciplinary. Why? You can see certain organizations, there are no issues. Why? Because like, if you can look after employees really well, if employees are happy, then there are no problems. But by chance, employees, I mean, their salaries and wages are like vague and all, that can create maybe sizable problems as well. Now, that is why, I mean, this is going to be something relatively very important for us to consider about. Okay. And also, same time, you can see, now this is not just one aspect, right? There are so many concerns, right? It may be wages and salaries, it may be recruitment, it may be employee happiness. Now, there are so many areas to consider about in an organization if you want to maintain relationship. On the other side, actually, this is very important. Why? Why I'm saying this is important? Because key reason for it would be, I think you all are knowing today, what we consider happy employee create happy customer. Now, if you have very good relationship with the employee, then what will happen? The employee can make your customers happy, right? And how do you treat customer? Customer service standard. Then on the other hand, it's a big area called service quality. Now, all these things completely depends on the nature of relationship that you are going to maintain. Now, you can see that. Okay. And also same time, now you can consider about like, all HR activities. I think, as I mentioned now, recruitment selection, the job designing. I think you can remember possibly you discussed, not with me, previously, Hackman and Oldham job characteristics model, right? Then autonomy, and also task significant, like that. I mean, then you had discussed about these areas. Now, that is why, I mean, this is not going to be just one specific concern. Now, everything together, I mean, you are giving serious attention. And that is what, I mean, I just wanted to say. And also, there are like unions, because when you look at human, right, then human being considered as social animals. Then what do you mean by that? Social animal in the sense, normally, we always wanted to maintain relationships. We are running through relationships. Then isolation won't be there, right? Then, because you can see sometimes isolation could create maybe mental disorders and things. Even if you consider Maslow's third need, according to the hierarchy, you can say it is about social needs, right? Your ability to go ahead with, people, I mean, your colleagues for relationship, that's the matter. All right. These are the concerns I wanted to highlight in here. Then you can see now, that is why I told you, this is an art, right? And also sometimes it is driven with science as well. Then you should be very much in concern with how to handle this, both art and science, in a work setting. Only thing, when I say work setting, you know how easy, how difficult to manage these work settings as well. Now, this is a context, right? Looking at that, I'm moving to what are the objectives of employee relations. Just one simple concern. Right? It is very, very tiny concern when you consider about, for me, actually, it is about industrial peace. Right? And the relationship between employer-employee and making all the parties are happy. There are no strike, no pickets, no any kind of unnecessary temperature. Yeah, everybody at work would be happy. That's it. This is why, I mean, we generally consider in here. But then again, now you can see there are so many other concerns as well. Then you can see we need to protect interest of the people, right? Then at work, there are parties who are connected, right? In that, I mean, you can see as employees, now they are always considering about their wages, salaries, benefits, career development, and all sort of things like this. But then same time, employer always look at what is the return that I'm going to get, how to cut down the cost, those kind of aspects as well. And then here our concern is how do you balance this? Because now that has to be, because these are two extremes. What we want is mutual amicable understanding. And also there may be sometimes industrial disputes, right? There are various industrial disputes that are available in organizations, strikes, pickets, work to rule. Like that, I mean, you can see there are so many different types of disputes. And what is our requirement? How to avoid or how to manage, because sometimes because of relationship, avoiding disputes is a miracle, but how to manage it? Ultimately, what matters? The better and best performance, right? Then you need excellent performance here. Why? Because what we are expecting, we wanted to be the best in the market. I mean, then randomly you cannot do that. Then you can do that only if that we can manage this very well. Otherwise, there is no way that you can consider. Further, now you can see, sometimes if it is not properly operating, what will happen? Now, these people may be leaving the organization. There may be an issue of labor turnover. Maybe sometimes it is something to do with absenteeism and all. Then those things that we have to, and also employee engagement as well as participation, both. Now here I'm referring to employee engagement. That means whether employees are going beyond their capacity to provide much better service to the employees. Much better service to the organization, or much better service to our clients or the customers as well. This is a concern. But then same time, when it comes to decisions, whether employees are engaged with decisions, constructive criticism and all. Right? I mean, these are the concerns. These are things actually that we wanted to look at over here. And also ultimately, like, I mean, if they are maintaining very good relationship, if they are like, I mean, happy at work, then the result would be like, these employees, they start maintaining a good health. Right? Now, that is also a fact over here that we need to consider about. These are the points. Okay, then you can consider in this way. Those are going to be relatively very, very important aspects to be considered as well. Right, then you can see what are the parties to industrial relations. But employee relations, I think I told you there are two parties, employer, employee. But then when you look at industrial relations, employer, then employee try to get together and establish a union. And that trade union, employer, and on the other side, that you can see government, right? The government also part of this. On behalf of the government, I think Labor Department play a major role here. All right, then I can see how these industrial relations. Now, sometimes we have relationship at team level, right? Then within teams, I think they have agreements and they have understandings. How do you manage these issues that you are experiencing? And also same time, you can see that will goes to organization level as well, right? Then team level to sometimes it will be departmental level as well, right? Departments. As different departments, how do you handle these different relationships, right? Fundamentally, if there is an issue, what you do, right? That matters a lot. Why? Because in an organization, each and every department, let's say finance department, maybe marketing department, I think I don't have to say, you all are knowing, because departmental cultures are very much different in nature. Now then, if it is the case, then what will happen next? Then their relationships also relatively much different, right? Then if both of these things are operating in that way, then what will happen? Then employee relationships also playing a different kind of a role, which may not be very easy to understand and handle, right? And that is why, then you can see, now we had to play a very vital as well as a kind of a major role over here. That is the nature. All right. At the same time, now you can see organization level. That is also very much different. Now I'll take an example. CTC, tobacco. Have you seen they have major strikes, pickets, and things, right? Because I mean there are a lot of repercussions outside because it is something to do with maybe tobacco manufacturing, this and that. But then what I wanted to highlight over here, now you can see, is a kind of a different concern. That is, their policy is this. Now we pay better than the market. And what will happen? Then employees are very happy because now there are benefit packages and mostly a remuneration they consider as very much substantial in the market settings. Then what will happen? Whatever people say is, country like Sri Lanka, this payment matters a lot. Then you can see with that, I mean, how things are actually working, right? Now that is why I'm very carefully that we have to have a look on this as well, right? Then now you can see how they try to maintain this best relationship at work. What are the initiatives that they are going to consider about? Then again, you can see industry level. Let's say like now private bus. Now there is an industry in there as well, private bus industry that Gamunu and other related parties are working together. I think you have seen this. Then that is what we generally consider because now GMOA, right? Now these are industry level applications, right? Now that depends on the industry, like and also the bargaining power. Now based on these, you will be deciding how things could work. All right. Then what will happen? Now you can see from industry you are going to national. Well, you can see if you say let's say organizations when they start strike, picket, or whatever, after some time that you can observe like national level participation. For that, you'll be getting people. You'll be getting different settings, right? Now, for example, you will be noticing maybe different colors coming into this, right? What I'm trying to say, that political interference. Like I mean, decide certain trends and all. I mean, that is at the national level. Industry may not be, but never know. It depends on the politics, right? Because some countries actually politics everywhere. And as a result, now political involvement can be observed at even organizational level, right? Even at the industrial level, even at national level. But general philosophy, generally what we expect that the industry level is free, but national level, there may be political interference, especially in subcontinent. Then what will happen? Now, if things are not sorted at that level, national level even, then you will be moving to next level. I mean, that is about international, which means ILO concerns. Now, this is how actually things could consider. At it now, I want to look at these kind of concerns. I mean, possibly you all can raise your concerns, questions. If there is generally like a participation going to be very high. Right. Then if I can ask you this question. When you're recruiting people into your organization, is there a minimum age that we need to consider? What do you think? Is there a minimum age? Anyone?
Yes.
Yes. What would be the minimum age?
18 years.
18 years. All right. Okay. Anyone?
So can you
Well,
say 18 for like a full-time work and such? But then if it's 15 is the
perfect. Perfect. Actually, general understanding would be people under 16 anyway not allowed to work, right? Then, when you consider about full-time work, now then you are allowed to work full-time, which means you can enter into agreement when you become matured. That is where you can take a decision. Then that means 18 plus, you can go for full-time work. Until then, after 16, you can work, right? Then certain regulations that you can see, even after 15 also that you can work, right? Then even ILO, now they specify certain concerns as well, right? Then because just to ensure the fundamental right of education, because each and every person should get at least basic minimum education. For that purpose, now they make sure this what you call child labor, avoidance of child labor, to ensure education, right? Now that is a concern. For that matter, actually you can see this is how it would work. Right? Then if you, due to whatever the reason, right? Then if somebody recruit underage person, then that employer responsible. Now that is what then we have to understand here. Concern that we need to look at, because that is very important, right? Because any employer, right? Any employer miss this chance, then it would result in, like, a serious punishment, because you are employing an underage person, right? Because you are violating fundamental rights of an individual. Now that is a concern. Look at from that angle. Then now they are encouraging people to go ahead with contract, like, written contract. I think, then you have to enter into, very clear agreement, contract, because we can have a contract in written form, we can have a contract in verbal form, we can have a contract in, by behavior as well. Therefore, we need to consider what would be the best written application when you are just going ahead. Like that, then you can see there are so much of different concerns where that we had to give a serious attention. And then when you look at government employees, they have a minimum wage regulation, which is setting out by Salaries and Cadre Commission, right? Then Salaries and Cadre Commission, they have a concern. Now they specify this is the minimum wage for this category of people, depending on the industry or nature of the branch and all. Government budget, I think you can see. Now, there are different kind of proposals are coming up in terms of salary payments and things like that. Then based on those, what will happen? We can see, all these minimum wage applications, especially in state sector, determined based on wage board, and also same time, based on Salaries and Cadre Commission, and also circulars, internal circulars, government circulars, and also same time, this government budget. Now, those are the ones which are highlighting the aspects of these, minimum wage. But then when you consider a private sector, minimum wage, then countries like UK, government determine, now this would be the wage for this category of employees and this and that. But then, in a country like Sri Lanka, there is no such. Then we have what you call wage boards, right? Then initially it was like many, but then as per my knowledge, there were about 43, now about 36 in application in different ways. And also shop and office factory ordinance. They are also highlighting what would be the minimum wage, minimum earnings, and things like that as well. Then, now you can see, after getting that also, further, there are collective agreements. We'll be discussing them latter part of the day today. But then there are collective agreements also. Now the people work on those collective agreements, and in collective agreements, they agreed upon the payment of wages as well and other benefit perks. Therefore, like you can see, there are so many different aspects or so many different concerns are there when you look at in terms of this employee related payments in both the government sector as well as the private sector also. All right. Then you have Shop and Office Act. Right. Now, on that basis, if I ask you, how much is the, how many, what is the leave entitlement for employees at work? What do you think? What is the leave entitlement for employees at work?
Annual leaves 40 leaves and casual 7 leaves.
All right. Annual, thank you so much. Annually, you have 14 days leave. Then casual, then you have another 7 days. Now, this is the minimum. It doesn't mean that you have to stick to that. And if you're interested about giving more, I mean, that's fine, but not less.
So, some organization, there are separate 7 leaves for medical.
Exactly. Right? They do have it. Right?
Yes.
That's very correct because then those are going to be organizational policies. What I wanted to say, when you carefully look at any organization, that 14 and 7 considered to be compulsory leave. Compulsory, you have to provide. But then again, like, I mean, if organization interested based on the better relationship between employer and employee, now possibly they will consider for this. All right. Now that is a concern. I mean, that is what I wanted to highlight over here. Then again, you can see when you look at like then if any organization which is not providing that minimum 14 and 7, that is going to be one of the serious problem that we are going to encounter here. Office Act, as we know, like we need to have one major concern, that is employee welfare. That means proper lighting, heating, ventilation, and also seating facilities, and all these things which are specified under that.
Yes, sir. Can hear.
All right. Sorry, there is an issue, I think, with the learn, but that's okay. That platform is having some difficulty when I was checking. That is what they said. But anyway, let's go ahead just to see how it works, right? All right. Then now I think we were discussing about we were discussing about Shop and Office Act. Now, in that actually they clearly specify a couple of things. Now, that is about leave entitlement for employees. What are the days which are available? Now, specifically, they highlight, now these are the specific days for, like, employees to have that official leave. And also same time, they say proper lighting, heating, ventilation, right? Proper lighting, heating, ventilation, and also same time, seating facilities for staff, especially girls. They should be provided with better seating facilities. Now, like that, I mean, there are many things, I mean, they specify under this. And also, when you look at factory workers, now they are protected with factory ordinance. Under that, actually, they clearly specify requirement of lighting, heating, ventilation, crowding, which means one cubic meter, number of employees that you can occupy. And also same time, it is further recognized in the context that how to store chemicals, how to allocate work for people, that employ learning training opportunities. Like that, I mean, there are many things that they specify over here. Right? Then you can see this is not going to be just a very basic briefing, but these are setting the lower standard for employee welfare, right? Then you can see just to maintain good work relationship. Actually, these are the requirements now they specify over here. All right. Then on the other side, actually now you can see employee provident fund and also employee trust fund. We normally call it as EPF and ETF, right? For that matter, actually, I would like to give you a small calculation. Now, can you quickly run through and try to recognize how this can be done? Quicker the better. You can give a try. 2010, he just joined with 75,000. Now that 2012, now we were calculating in that way. Then afterwards, he has been confirmed with 10,000, which means 85,000. And then last week was like I discussed with you, I guess, the same. Then I'm calculating this for 3 years because now they have mentioned that every 3 years there is a salary increment of 20,000. Then you can see now we are in now that person will be confirmed. Yes, I think there is another point to be considered as well. First part, that probation period of 75,000, I think I made a small error. That is 12 to 2 years into, that
Excuse me,
is, yes,
so there we can take the 75,000 for the first 2 years. It's just constant, right? For
yes,
75.
first 2 years we had to.
Okay.
Yes. Because he get confirmed in like two years in the sense 2012, right? Right. Then
Yes.
we can get it in this way. Then afterwards, I'll go for the next one. I mean, that is easier. Then yes. Then 2012 to 14. For that, actually, that we had to consider in this way. Hope you got it. Then next one would be 2014. Right. You can see that from 2015, 16, 17, you will be experiencing this kind of increment, then and also entitlement. Then 20, you can see that period, how it is happening. And also same time, now he's going to get promoted. Yeah, from 2021 December, right? Then if it is the case, you can see that. And then finally that you will observe, then he is going to get promoted with further increment of 50,000 a month. Then from 21st December 31st, then which means 22nd January onwards, he is going to get that. Okay, if it is the case, be actually resigning 31st December. You can see that. Hopefully it is correct. Then what will happen? In the same way, you can calculate for other one as well. I mean, that is going to be what do you call this ETF as well. Instead of 20, that can be converted into 3. That's all. And also same time, gratuity calculation. Number of years of service. How many years of service that you can observe here? What is the duration of the service of Mr. A? Anyone? What is the total duration of Mr. A?
So is it 14?
Yeah, he joined 2010, right?
Yes, so that's the first year.
Okay. Then he resigned. He went into retirement
Sorry, so
2025.
it's more than that. Yeah, it's more than that.
16, sir.
15
How
years, sir.
16.
16. Perfect. Perfect. Then gratuity calculation goes as this. Right? 15,000 divided by 2 into number of years. That is 16 years. Right? I hope you got the figures. And also my calculation also hope it is okay, accurate. If it is the case, now you can understand like how it goes. Everybody like need to focus on this area because that is why I was just giving a briefing again, like I'm just for you to understand this labor law section because there can be assessment during the examination. All right. Okay, and also same time workman compensation. Now what we look at here, compensation in the sense, right? If there is an accident or something, now then what will happen? Then if there is any kind of accident at work, while you are doing your official duty and which is assigned to you, then if you engage with that, within that context, if you have any kind of, uh, danger, then you are entitled for compensation, right? And then that depends on the value, that depends on the, organization arrangements as well. But generally, Workmen Compensation Act says certain concerns also, right? And that is what we were concentrating on. Right now, then I think I told you that trade unions, like mainly trade unions are working, what will happen just to protect employees' right, because there is a freedom of association. Now that is why we are going through with this. That would be very, very important for employees because then they can get together and also same time they can work for the organization and protecting their rights and being human. Now what they can do,
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sorry, sir, just to clarify, in that last year,
Yeah.
even though the like every 3 years is an increment of there's an increment of 20,000. So after he
Yeah.
got absorbed to senior level and there's an increment of 50,000, again after another 3 years elapses, is the increment equal to 20,000 or?
Actually, like I mean, if you considering that way, you can write that as an assumption. What I thought actually, like a general salary increment of the organization at executive level 20. When you get promoted, only like you will be getting that promotion related increment as 50,000. But same time as you mentioned, you can assume that what you call then after getting into promotion, then you will be getting this what do you call 50,000 increment every 3 years as well. There is no problem. You can assume and go ahead.
Okay, no, so because here the 215,000 comes from the normal 20,000 increment, right?
20,000
Right.
increment. Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, so is that
Yes.
okay to go ahead with, so that the 50,000 that comes with the promotion is a one-off increase?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
you can consider that either as 20,000 or 50,000. Then always better to write what is your assumption also.
All right,
Just
okay, sir.
indicate
Got it.
and go ahead, no problem.
Okay, okay, sir. Got it,
As
got it.
long as there is a logic behind this, there won't be any problem.
All right, sir.
Right, that's great. Yeah, your thinking appreciated. Right, then now then you can see trade union. I think I told you like every 7 members get together and then they can send an application to the Commission of Labor. I mean, then they'll be actually registering this what do you call trade union and put a gazette notification. Now, in that way, you can get that registration done. But then again, problem is like, when you're just looking at this, then what would happen? Now, this registration is a must to operate. Then only like, I mean, you have certain rights where that you can have what do you call account that you can maintain on behalf of the trade union, and trade union get legal personality. I think like as a real business uh, when you register, like I mean, I'm referring to a company. When you register as a company, that you will be getting legal personality. That same way, union also getting the same scenario, right? And also same time, actually, annual returns is a must that they had to consider about. Then they have to send annual returns also, right? These are the concerns that you can see, and then. Respecting to like I mean all general conduct of the organization act, then you will be able to go through with all the rights that you can enjoy over here. Industrial Dispute Act, as I mentioned that day, you can see this is about what you call settling the industrial disputes, right? Then for that, actually, what are the rights of the commissioner and also what are the rights of the minister of labor? What they can do in order to handle this, I mean, that is why I mean, then they discuss about, then we can consider about it like in terms of the practices. Have any concerns, any questions to ask on this labor law area?
No, sir.
Right? Then quickly I'll run through with this again. Like you can see, then we can go for strikes. I think I told you earlier, strike is all about, we'll be reporting to work, but we are not accepting duties. Now that is what we generally consider, right? We are not accepting duties, but we report to work. Now that is what we call strike, layoff, then picket, like during your break time. I mean, then you will be doing some what do you call, you are showing your displeasure to public. All right. I mean, then you can do different things to go ahead with that. I mean, that is what we recognize as picket, but you have to do it during your break, right? Not at work time. And also same time you can consider next one, I mean, go slow or go slow in the sense like you're not capitalizing your full capacity. You'll be doing the same very, very slowly. I mean, just to avoid the organization like experiencing same type of return or earnings. Just to avoid it, actually you'll be doing it. Now that is what you can see. Similarly, like you can see another one, what you call work to rule. You'll be doing only what you asked to do, nothing else, nothing extra, right? And also like employer side, actually they can close down the business. Now those are the things that you can generally consider about. And then principles of unions, trade unions. Now, trade unions mainly, and now they always respect unity, should respect, and also like everybody who are working with the same job, same capacity, they're supposed to get the same payments. And then due to whatever the industrial action that you are taking up, then you should not be terminated or whatever. Even contracted employees can participated for trade unions. But like if you do that, what will happen practically, right? Now, then basically functions wise, I mean, then they had to represent their members, and also same time, now they had to, negotiate. Now, those are the expectations that we have in general, right? Then negotiation and represent their membership. But then you can see some cases, actually, this both functions are neglected by most of the trade unions, right? And also same time, you can consider collective bargaining, right? I mean, this is a legal process. If you are experiencing any kind of difficulty, if you feel like there will be difficulties that you will be experiencing in future, if it is the case, then what you can do, for that matter, you can negotiate with your employer, not individually as a trade union. Then you can get into agreement, and you can send that agreement to Labor Commissioner, where he'll be making that as a gazette notification to ensure that he's having a legal recognition. Then with that, actually, that you'll be able to go through with this. Those are the basics actually. And, bargaining not easy, but it is very important, right? Why? Because, when you go for bargaining, it will make sure industrial peace. Now, that is number one. And also same time, it will help you to establish better relationship with between employer and employee to ensure now they are achieving organization objectives in a very smooth manner. All right. Now, these are things that you can generally consider about. Then now this is again, like as you mentioned, it is about industrial peace, most of the cases. And then you'll be recognizing value of human beings as employees in the organization. Why? Because man hours. Because if you are like losing even a single day, that will make huge impact on the organization in terms of their earnings and all, right? Because one side employee, other side you can see it is making huge impact on the organization and organizational performance as well. Therefore, you had to work on all these together. That is a requirement. All right. Then in order to go ahead with this, you had to make sure uh, then people, their maturity, parties with good understanding, right? I mean, these are generally very much important aspects that we need to consider about. Well, as you wish, if you're thinking like, I mean, we can just go ahead, it won't happen. There should be a very good preparations. Now that is compulsory. And also like your negotiation team, right? And also what is the best time for negotiation? I mean, these kind of things you have to seriously consider when you're just going through, because otherwise it could create a lot of issues for the negotiation process, which won't be successful as well. Are there any questions? Because I just revised this because I feel like it is important for you all to look at. Is there any question you wanted to ask? Is it clear? Any doubt, anyone? I'll be quickly running through this one as well, like conflicts, right? Then conflicts and negotiation, because this is, again, now you can see we just discussed about labor law. Now, labor law in the sense employer and employee relationship, connecting with the same, I mean, we can look at this one as well, right? This is also a very important area in practice. Why? Because every organization now, when we work with different people who are having different interest, then what will happen? There can be so much of issues in concern. Therefore, we have to seriously work on this in a very precise manner. I mean, that would be very important to avoid unnecessary problems at work. Okay, therefore, like, I mean, if there are problems, then how you sort out these problems? Now, that is the other concern. right? Just to look at both, now we can consider, we can give our serious attention on this. Stand. Now you can see it is like, I mean, depending on different interests. Then one party having one interest, another party wanted to go through with another. Because of that, there can be different types of conflicts that you will be experiencing, you're going to experience. I mean, that is why, I mean, then we have to be very careful when we are just going through with these. Because individuals, now they can have conflicts, groups, now they can have conflicts, organizations, also they can have conflicts as well. Therefore, we have to be very careful when we are handling this. Compulsorily that we have to have a look. See, conflicts actually, there are certain basic fundamental concerns. The number one, actually, now you can see perception. The way that you are going to see certain things may create conflicts as well, right? Because different parties, now they are going to look at things in different ways. Therefore, we have to give serious attention on this segment just to avoid conflict. And also, then due to whatever the reason that you'll be understanding that there is an incompatibility. You are not, very much comfortable on something. Now that is one of the major concern for us to go ahead with. And also some cases actually we understand that there are oppositions, right? What you expect, right? There are parties who are completely away from what you think. Therefore, I mean, there can be different types of conflicts that you would experience. And also different types of interactions that you have. Where always interactions can have conflicts as well. Now that is why, I mean, these are sections or these are segments that we wanted to look at. Taking that into consideration, I can see conflicts. Now, this is very important for us to look at because when I say conflicts, there are three different ways, right? Then fundamentally, now traditional view, right? Then what do you mean by traditional view? Now, that is 1930s to 40s, the human relations view, that is 1940s to 70s, as well as the current view that you can consider about. All right, then when I'm just going through with this, you can see initially what view. The traditional view in the sense, it says conflicts are harmful, right? Therefore, traditionally, like in countries like even Sri Lanka, what we do, we are trying to hide conflicts, right? Then we don't want to get it through, but we wanted to hide the conflict. relations. Now, then here, when people maintain relationship, there can be a stimulation of conflicts. I mean, that is what we consider human relations view of conflict. Now, here, understanding is, because of relationship, we are experiencing conflicts. No relationship, no conflict. Then interactions. Because of human interactions, there are conflicts which are like very much important for us to understand people and also to understand settings. Therefore, like you can see, interactional view, that is also very, very important aspect, because under that they say conflict is something that you have to stimulate, right? Why? Because it is not harmful, but it is needed for organization to operate better. Now, that is a general understanding we can see. You can see first, traditional view, says it is harmful. The human relation view that we are going to say, it is, inevitable because relationship. If there are no relationships, then nothing to worry. It is easy. But then interactions view that you can see there are big concerns over here because we have to make use of conflict. We have to manage conflict rather than avoiding it because it is very, very useful for the organization. Then you can see there are two types of conflicts. Some conflicts are useful, what you call functional. Some conflicts are harmful, right? Those are known as dysfunctional. Then as a manager, what you should do, you should be able to understand what is functional, what is dysfunctional. Then what you should do, encourage functional, discourage dysfunctional. If there are dysfunctional conflicts happening, then you should be able to recognize them and develop it further. You can see that is very useful for us to look at. Now that depends, right? Then modern day managers, right, today, what is their duty? They cannot say like conflicts are negative, this and that. Now they should be able to convert all negative conflicts into positive, all dysfunctionals into functional. Then you can see it is not going to be easy. And also same time, that is not very difficult as well. But that depends on how do you manage them. Now this is the concern. All right. Then what are the different types of conflicts? Then you can see interpersonal and intrapersonal, among people or within a person. Right? Then within a person also possible because when a person experience different demands at the same time, then he or she may be having a conflict, which one to address, which one to satisfy, right? Now, in that way, there are different concerns as well. Then you can see intergroup and intragroup, which means within the group as well as among groups. There can be different types of conflicts. Because always when we encourage teamwork, requirement would be from management side, you have to make sure that you are addressing to all these different concerns that they have. Then again, now when you consider, you can see some are very competitive, right? It is encouraging the competition, which should be better. Another one is harmful, what you call disruptive. Now, because of the conflict, some people start leaving, then some people, they are fighting for resources, like that. There are so much of concerns. Okay, another thing actually, now task. Now, because of the task that you're supposed to do, there can be conflict as well. These are known as task conflict, very much very common in nature. right? These are very, very common. Why? Because now you know, when you look at any organization, each and every organization, there are like, different set of work. Then when you go through these different types of work, then what will happen? Now there is a way to work. Then because of the task you have to achieve, there can be different types of conflicts that you are going to experience. Relationship, because now let's say now you are going to get in touch with one party which is leading to a conflict with another party as well, right? Like that. I mean, now that is why that you can generally consider about how you can go ahead. Right? Then next one, I mean, that you can see. Third one, process. The way that you are going to do, right? Now, this is something that you can consider due to the process that you are experiencing there, like, I mean, that you can consider. Right. Then what will happen next? You can see conflict. And some people think conflicts are better. Some people are saying, majority saying conflicts are upset.
ABC line is stand for?
Yes. Now this is actually like when you are just going through, now you can see level of conflicts and also performance. Then now if you consider about level of conflicts as very, very low, that is point A as well as point C. Now that you can see point A indicates conflicts are very low, very low, but performance also extremely low as well. But then conflicts are very high, that is under point C. Then what is happening? Performance also going down very badly because not that fighting, they have nothing to do like that. Then when you say conflict level B, the point B, that indicates, right, optimum level that you can achieve, because you can see conflicts increasing little by little, then what will happen? Now then that is going to performance highest level. Now this is going to be conflict up to some extent. Then what you call positive type of conflicts that you have to look at here. That is the point, right? Then manager in organization should understand this. It is generally compulsory in nature. If a manager can understand, if manager can look at, right, what is the level where that we had to consider about how we can pursue this conflict, because some managers and all are there. What they do when they hear the word there is a problem, there is a conflict, immediately that they are thinking about, avoiding it. But here concern is conflicts are positive, yeah, but you have to understand the extent of the particular conflict. Then at the correct point, it's like you have done the break-even analysis. Then we are also going through the same scenario. We look at what is the optimum level that we can tolerate. Then when you run through with that, what will happen? We will be able to enhance our performance up to a greater extent. Then finally, what matters may be non-traditional approach, but we wanted to say our organizational performance increasing. Now, on that basis, actually, we can run through with this. Hope you got that point. Point B, just go up. Now, then you can see that conflict cycle, how it is working. Clear, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, because now why I wanted to highlight this, some organization, even some managers, now they are looking at these kind of concerns in a very, very negative manner. Now that is why then we have to be very specific, very, very specific about this, how we should be doing this, how we can manage, and how we should operate this conflicting situation. And we have to have an open mindset. Okay, look, then this is the tolerance level. I will go up to this level where there is no problem. It will enhance the performance of the organization. But if you exceed that level, yes, that is where we have to take necessary action. Then you can see in a conflicting process, there may be kind of antecedents, like which means preset conditions or maybe stimulus. Then what will happen? You are perceiving, right? You are not experiencing, but you are going to hear. Or somebody says like, hey, there is a conflict, this is that, that person is harassing and this and that. That is going to be perceived. You are observing only. But then sometimes you are part of the conflict. That is what we call fact. Felt in the sense that you are going to experience that there is a conflict, now it is working like this. Then most of the cases, people are very silent, right? Why? Because they do not, experience the conflict, but they just listen, right? That there is a conflict. Then what will happen? Now they say 1,001 stories because they are not experiencing the conflict. They are just, observe the conflict. Then, therefore, then they are going to be just a part of the conflicting process where no one is knowing about, what is happening and all. Then what will happen? There will be a specific behavior that you can recognize with the conflict. That depends, right? Depending on the situation, maybe depending on the person as well. Now that is why that behavior. Because sometimes in certain conflicts, like how different parties behave, now that matters a lot, right? Now, as a manager, then you should know, right? Let's say group A, if there is a conflict, how they behave. If a group B, right, in a different culture, maybe different plant, different office, different levels of people, what is their reaction to these conflicts? You can see that kind of very good understanding will help you in recognizing and also reacting to different types of conflicts as well. Then you can see if there is a conflict, then what you do with that. How do you manage, right? What actions that you are going to take in order to mitigate the conflict or in order to suppress the conflict. Right. Then you can see after giving a solution, then what is next, right? What will happen? Now, this is something that you can always consider about. What is antecedent? What could create conflict? Now, this is very important for us to understand. Then you can see here, now in certain conditions, right? Then resources are very, very limited. Therefore, what will happen? There may be conflict between parties to share resources, but I mean, then you have to understand it is not. But can't help. I mean, this is a nation. Now, this is what we wanted to recognize. And also, some people actually, they always with conflicting attitude with others, right? That is going to be, and they are victimizing others, that type of behaviors. I mean, that is something relatively very important for us to understand. Then you can see like unclear justifications or judgments, right? Then which is not giving you like very specific kind of concern. Now that would be very dangerous in nature. Right. Then you can see sometimes communication barriers at work. Now those are going to be relatively very important for us to see. Sense, then sometimes there are no agreements, no common consensus. Right now, these kind of things now you can see as very, very problematic concerns. Then apart from that, actually, when you just go through, now sometimes there may be certain conflicts which are not being attempted, right? Because of that, like conflict is not resolved. Like, I mean, those are staying inside the organization, inside the setting for ages. And that is leading to further conflict as well. Right. Then you can see knowledge of self and others. Like sometimes, I mean, it is lacking, right? Then you don't have proper understanding about others. You don't have proper understanding about self as well. External issues, right? Then you are competing on very limited resources that we have. I mean, that could be one of the key concern in general. And also same time, you can see then poor information sharing. Now, these are very common in nature. sometimes there is no clear direction. And also, now different parties work on the same issue, right? And also, like, recommendations for your understanding, you can say, like, those recommendations are not very much accurate. But then, because of the general concerns that you will be understanding, okay, then we have to do. But can't help, those are not acceptable at all. Because of this conflict, then what would happen? Then mostly, like you can see, those are leading to performance-related issues, right? Maybe people start getting absent, there may be labor turnover, right? Then quality of work may go down, like that. There are a lot of negatives that you will be experiencing over here. Right? Then you can see now, now you can see why we are discussing about how to create a conflict. Yes, at times that you had to create a conflict because reason. Now, what we wanted to do, certain conflicts actually that you need to stimulate, create the conflict. Certain conflicts actually that you need to control. Now, that is why then we are looking at both aspects over here, as those are relatively very important for us. Right? Then you can see here. Now, most of the cases, now you can see, there is no recognition that people expect. Sometimes, you are not going to set a role model for the situation, right? Then you are not going to judge, right? Now, this is correct, this is wrong. Sometimes you can see before the incident that you have your own judgments, preset judgments, right? And also, like, you are like always sending messages in a very verbal manner. Then there can be conflict. Now that is why just to avoid this, like, you can consider about very precise communication. Then some cases, now you can see they always wanted to see that subordinates just see them. Like, I think you can see certain CEOs and all bosses. What happens? Subordinates supposed to come and mark the attendance in front of them. That kind of mentality that you can see, right? And also that you always try to be the best in the team, like our scenarios, and subordination, you are trying to achieve your objective at the cost of the team's objectives and all that you can see. Then how do you do that, right? There is a leadership theory, cell tell model, hopefully that you have discussed about it. Now, in that way, what is the best suited model for us to practice the leadership? Now, these kind of things always that we need to consider about when you are going through and delaying activities, and also you are challenging to the situation by creating changes. Right? Then now you can see if you look at reasons for conflicts, general reasons, unclear goals. See, like, then we can easily avoid. That is why we would like to have proper job description, contract agreements and all, very precisely done. I mean, that would be very, very useful for us, right? And also, you are deviating from your personal values to group specific objectives. Now, that would be very, very important here, right? Then you need to create the trust and better cooperation. It's relatively compulsory in nature, right? Then now you can see then you have to compete for resources like that. That is where there can be certain types of conflicts that you are experiencing. Right? Then role, what you're supposed to do, that your role is not very clear at certain cases. Like, I mean, these kind of things always that you need to avoid. And then you can see when you are going through a team, there can be certain issues that you are experiencing here. There may be like a very planned kind of conflicts, right? Because of status and because of behaviors and all sort of things. And also, uh, then sometimes certain members, certain team players are overriding others. Maybe personal grudges between people, like I mean, now these kind of very common situations that you can see, and even different values. Now, because of these conflicts, then what are the possible outcomes? Now, that is the most important thing. Then, if it is very dangerous, then you can take all necessary actions as well. Stress. Then people try to get absent because they are not very happy, then they don't want to. Right? Then at the same time, you can see they start leaving the organization, right? The staff turnover, right? And also, like employee motivation may go down, right, at higher level. Right? And also you can see productivity may go down very badly. Now that is also very much possible. Now then, now this is kind of a situation that you can see that conflict. How do you manage these 5 situations, right? The first one, actually, you have to consider how conservative or how assertive, how cooperative. Well, sometimes, I mean, there is no any kind of support, right? Very less cooperative. And also, like some are trying to achieve their own objective, very assertive, some cases unassertive as well. Then here first, avoiding. If you feel like, I mean, others are not supporting, and also same time, they are like assertive as well, then why you are bothered? I mean, you can just simply ignore. Then now you can see they are very assertive as well as very, very uncooperative. Then no point, I mean, don't even discuss, no point. Right, next one, I mean, you can see they are highly cooperative, but what do you call unassertive as well. Then in that kind of situations that you can go for accommodating. you can allow them to like achieve their targets. Then you can see collaborative, which means it is going to be win-win situation that you are looking at. All right. Then which one is the best over here? We can't say that, right? Then very carefully that we have to have a look, right? Depending on the situation, which one would give you the best outcome. Now you cannot prejudge, okay, I'm into this one, I'll be always going for this. No, you can't do that. What you need to do, then you have to analyze the situation. You have to look at stakeholders' perspective, then take a decision. Now that decision would be very much a wise decision. Right. Then now this is a question, right? Then when to use avoidance, when to accommodate, all these things now we have highlighted over here. The only thing now you should be able to understand the situation first. Then if you understand the situation, if you judge and recognize, okay, this would be the best, then you can take a decision. Okay, this is the way to go ahead. Right? But in certain cases that you can see, some individuals, they think there is only one way that is the best way of going through. I mean, that is actually not the correct one. That is why we have to be seriously careful when we are looking at these. Right. Then now you can look at all these, evaluate it, and then you take a decision which one would be the best, right? Rather than that, don't say this is the best. Always it can be used. No, it is not. Right. Then based on this, how do you deal with this? Then you can say, as I mentioned, competition. One win, other lose. Now, then these kind of situations, like, certain cases, like, I mean, we do not entertain this because pure reason, whereas then sustainability would be concern, would be an issue. Why? Because one party losing. Then they are always bothered about this. Therefore, I mean, then we had to seriously consider about this concern. Right? Then you can see accommodating. Then when you accommodate, now today you will be losing something, but in future, definitely that you are going to win. One party winning today, other party winning tomorrow. Now that is why in some cases, people who are going through with long-term relationship, they always consider about this. Right. Then you can see avoidance. Why you are going for avoidance? Because there is no gain, right? Both parties would lose. If it is the case, try to avoid it, right? Then now most of the people, most of the parties in a negotiation, they don't consider about this. Then compromising, right? Sometimes you are losing some percentage, other person also losing the balance percentage, something like that. Now that is why when you compromise, always you are not going to be the winner. Right? Then collaboration is the most effective people think. But always we can't be collaborative. If you want to be collaborative, there are conditions that you have to satisfy first. All right. Then how do you prevent? Generally in practice, now this can be a area for questions as well. Develop a mechanism to avoid conflict or mitigate conflict. Then first, then proper communication, rather meetings, that you can always look at what are the possible communications that you can go through with. Now that would be very useful for us. All right. Then you can see, you need to know about others. Others should be knowing about you. All right. Then open expressions should be entertained. Now this is very important. Everybody should know like what are we going to do, because sometimes only top management knowing, others not knowing. Therefore, sharing objectives, then clear definition of what you are trying to achieve. Very clear definition. It is a must that we should be knowing about. All right. Then you can see you are distributing tasks among people in a very fair manner. Otherwise, like one set having high workload, other set having no workload. I mean, it can't be the case. Therefore, you have to be very careful about this. Constructive criticisms only, no destructive criticisms, right? Then everybody should be treated in the same way, in a very fair and equitable manner. These are compulsory in general. And then always that you can set the tasks, right, in a very positive way. Now, then these are some of those conflict management or conflict handling styles. Would be useful for you to look at. Now, always that you are compromising, collaborating rather than avoiding and fighting, right? Then always you have to look at the problem in a very positive way, how you can achieve them. Right now, that is going to be one of the very important aspect. Then a better communication that we can consider about. Now, that's very much important in nature. Right? Then same way, like you can see, sometimes you can expand resources, but people fighting for the resources. And also sometimes you can be very tough as well, right? Then dictatorship, right? Then That is why very hard masters that you can appoint at times. Then maybe you can restructure, right? Then maybe novelty, innovation, creativity that you can emboss into it. Those are the possible things that you can look at. If you have any questions, then our areas, you can see recruitment and selection, then HRIS, then conflicts and negotiation, and also same time employee and industrial relations. Now those 4 areas you can consider. You can await for like prospective questions in the exam as well. Therefore, be alert, right? Then all the questions would be very much practical in nature. If you have any questions, please, you can raise. That we discuss.
Yes, sir.
All right, if it is the case, then thank you so much, everyone. Then get ready, like, I mean, at the very end, I'll be doing revision as well, right? Then those 4 sections that I supposed to do, I have gone through. Then Professor Lakshi and Dr. Mayuri will go ahead. And then at the end, I'll do a revision session for examination as well. And thank you so much, everyone. Then I'll see you at the very end with a revision. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.